US Department of Justice has appointed an independent lawyer or special counsel to oversee its investigations into the former President Donald Trump. Jack Smith, a war crimes prosecutor, will decide whether to press criminal charges over Mr. Trump's handling of classified documents and his alleged role in the Capitol riot last year. The US Attorney General Merrick Garland said the appointment was in the public interest, given that both Mr. Trump and President Biden intend to run for the White House again in 2024.
I strongly believe that the normal processes of this department can handle all investigations with integrity. And I also believe that appointing a special counsel at this time is the right thing to do. The extraordinary circumstances presented here demand it.
A judge in California is due to sentence the former businesswoman Elizabeth Holmes for defrauding investors. Lawyers for the 38-year-old have called for leniency in her case. Her company, Theranos, claimed to have produced a medical device which could test a small blood sample for a wide range of conditions. In reality, the firm ran the patient's tests through conventional machines from other companies. Kenya's former leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Rwanda's President, Paul Kagame, have agreed on the need for a ceasefire in eastern Congo. Will Ross reports.
In public, President Paul Kagame has always denied backing the M23 rebels in eastern Congo. But according to a statement from the mediator Uhuru Kenyatta's office, the Rwandan leader has now agreed to use his influence to get the rebels to cease fire and withdraw from recently captured areas. This week, the conflict has escalated, with the Congolese military attacking M23 positions using fighter jets and tanks. This international push for a ceasefire brings some hope. Much will depend on the outcome of regional peace talks, which are due to begin in Kenya on Monday.
The UN Drugs Agency, the INCB, says it's extremely concerned about reports of large-scale opium poppy cultivation and opium production in Afghanistan. Before being deposed in 2001, the Taliban government had brought in strict curbs on cultivation. Those policies were not reintroduced when they returned to power last year. Here's Bethany Bell in Vienna.
The INCB said big efforts were needed to support alternative livelihoods for Afghans who cultivate opium poppy. It said there was an urgent need to improve prevention and treatment for all people who use drugs, particularly women. The board also expressed grave concerns about reports on the targeting of civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, including medical facilities. It called upon all parties to the conflict to ensure the protection of the country's hospitals.
Delegates at the extended UN climate talks in Egypt are still haggling over the issue of funding to compensate poorer countries for loss and damage incurred by global warming. The Reuters news agency reported that a new proposal from the US and the EU was being circulated late on Friday. Matt McGrath in Sharm el-Sheikh says the Americans and Europeans have shifted positions.
2 weeks ago, the US and the EU were even refusing to have a discussion about the idea of loss and damage for fear that they would somehow be on the hook for litigation lasting perhaps centuries and huge amounts of money. So they've come a long way in a very short period of time. The EU is proposing a plan to start a fund and is looking for a wide range of donors. So it's looking to China as one of the countries that should be paying in. Now, under the UN scheme, China is classed as a developing country and doesn't have to pay climate finance. They're looking for some sort of possibly voluntary contribution from China to help fill out that particular fund. But that obviously is a proposal that wouldn't have gone down particularly well with the Chinese.
The authorities in Ecuador say at least 9 inmates have been killed in a riot at a jail in the capital, Quito. The security forces have now entered the El Inca compound and are searching for more bodies. The riot began a few hours after 2 high-profile gang leaders were transferred to another high-security prison. Brazil's economy minister has criticised the incoming government's plans to increase spending in order to tackle poverty and hunger. Paulo Guedes said it was possible to deal with social issues without disregarding fiscal responsibility. He will leave office in January. One of Europe's most notorious art forgers has handed himself into police in Italy. Giuliano Ruffini faked works by artists including El Greco and Lucas Cranach the Elder. His copies were so convincing that they were bought by private collectors and museums, including the Louvre in Paris.
Hi, thank you for watching. I hope the videos are useful for you. Please subscribe to my channel using the button below.